You know what I don't like about Marvel? When the rule doesn't make sense. And this is something we seem to see more and more in Marvel, especially in Phase 4. I know a YouTuber talking about something bad in Phase 4, real original. Well, I think this angle is unique enough to get a pass, as the MCU will now lessen its overall cohesion as a universe in order to be meta.
You see, Marvel has always been making reference to, well, Marvel. But when it came to the first 3 phases, it mostly made sense and expanded the world building, like when Banner mentioned Wakanda as an example.
It was a clever way to make nod to the comic that inspired the movie and world build the MCU at the same time. It was a win-win.
But with Phase 4, Marvel went in a weird direction. This new strange phenomenon started creeping into Phase 4 movie. To truly understand what this phenomenon is, we need to go through specific scene of Phase 4 movie and show. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I think this will make you understand better what we meant. In She-Hulk, there is a scene where the titular character felt uneasy around the character that said Wakanda forever. But while this was happening, my brain was thinking, how did that man knew about the Wakanda forever thing that they do in Black Panther? I mean, we know it because in the movie it was like a big thing. If Wakanda was close to everyone before the end of the first movie that take place in 2017, and that even after that the Wakanda doesn't let many people in their country, if anyone at all, and that the people of Wakanda doesn't do the Wakanda forever thing for no reason, and especially around the Brando in the street, they did it in Endgame, yes, but no one could have seen the fight outside of the people who were there. Did Antman or Rando Sorcerer that was with Doctor Strange saw the thing and did it in front of other people? If not, just how do other people know? The people of Wakanda don't like others to know about them, so much that they hid their wealth to the world. So how does a rando from America just know the Wakanda forever thing? It makes no sense in the canon of the show.
How come Miss Marvel is a fan of Captain Marvel? She isn't even an Earth hero. She only fought Thanos during one battle. No one ever saw her. I know that apparently Scott Lang has a podcast, but is this really enough to justify being a mega fan of Captain Marvel? This is the equivalent of reading the Wikipedia page of a hero, then making this hero your favorite ever. You don't really like this hero. It's also weird how there's a poster of Captain Marvel in her room. Like, is Scott Lang going around telling people how every superhero look? And is he making money off those posters? And for Miss Marvel, even if it's comic accurate, in the context of the MCU, she shouldn't be this big of a fan of Captain Marvel at all. It makes no sense, because this universe isn't built like the comics, so you can't always be comic accurate. So a human girl being this big of a fan of Captain Marvel is a bit of a stretch. But if you happen to be in our world, watching her movies, maybe you would. But not in the MCU. You see what's going on here?
In WandaVision, you get side character talking about the fact that Wanda almost defeated Thanos, and if she was stronger than Captain Marvel. And it's a fun conversation to have among friends in real life, but in the context of the MCU, how can you accurately talk about it if you didn't see it? We saw it, we saw the movie, but the normal bystander of the MCU didn't. Plus, I don't think the Avenger would release a detailed video of the fight to save the universe where their friend died. And I know Ant-Man has a podcast where he talk about it, but did he really see all of that during the fight? And if he did he really talk about it? And if he really talked about it, like, how could there have been enough detail for them to argue about it? It made no sense. Like, if your only source is Ant-Man, you either believe him or you don't. I don't think the normal people in the MCU have enough info to talk about it like they saw it. It's just weird when you think about it. I don't think Wanda or Captain Marvel talked about how close they were to kill Thanos. Like, I don't see them do that.
The play scene in Love and Thunder is also just a nod from the viewer's perspective. The play scene in Ragnarok made sense because Loki became the king of Asgard, and Loki being Loki, he made a play of his death. But in Love and Thunder, it's just used as a hey, wink wink, you like that scene in the first movie, right? Right? And there's another one in this one. You like that, huh? Ooh. because this is a play that reenacts the death of Thor's father, Odin. How would anyone be able to remake this scene for a play so accurately? We know about this scene because we saw this scene, but why would Thor, who is traumatized and broken, tell anyone about the exact detail of his father's death except maybe his psychiatrist? I mean, maybe if he was completely drunk, but then again, I still don't see how the dude making the play would know about it. And Thor is known in previous movie to be well able to hold his drink, so I don't know about that. I don't really see how they would know about it. It's literally just a callback for the sake of callback.
Just another fine example of the MCU meta humor breaking the lore, because you know what was never funny? Genocide. Well, you know what the MCU thought the in-lore people of Asgard and Earth would like to not only go to eat at, some place glorifying genocide of half the universe, but also that it would be a good enough joke for us viewer that no one would ever think about it enough to see how little sense it made. Well, it isn't, and even if you thought it was funny, can you really take a universe seriously, where its greatest tragedy is now a joke, even to the people in that world? It would be like making a restaurant about the Holocaust. That's what the Asgardians did in Marvel, just for a joke.
In She-Hulk, Jen tried to get Banner to tell her if Steve had sex. Because yeah, from everything we have seen, it doesn't seem like he got the time to settle down. But really, why the hell is she asking that? Sure, we saw the most important moment of his life, and yeah, it seems like maybe he's a virgin. But as far as the world of the MCU is concerned, it's not even a question they should wonder. Okay, he became a soldier in 41, when he was 23 years old. A lot of people have sex before that age. And at the end of World War II in 45, he was 27, and he was not on mission 24/7 fighting Nazi. During those 4 years, he could clearly had sex. Then he came back in Avenger, and in Winter Soldier, and in Civil War. During all this time, he could have had sex. We didn't see any sign of it on screen, so we might wonder. But it's really far-fetched to think it's a commonly asked question in this world. Like in this world, Captain America's life is as much a mystery as War Machine, and no one asks if War Machine is a virgin. As you can see, what we're trying to say is that in those scenes, the characters are not referring to character or places from the comic as world building method. But now Marvel used meta reference to allude to movie themselves as a little wink to the audience.
And you could say we are nitpicking, but the concept of the MCU is to make everything feel connected as one big universe. So it's fair to point out how being meta is breaking that world.
And really, what purpose does those clearly unintentional fourth world breaking serve? Nothing. The characters no longer feel like they are part of an ever-expanding universe, but like they are a movie watcher that happen to play a part in the MCU. Meta always break the fourth wall, and when the fourth wall is broken, the immersion in the world, the thing that makes us for the length of a movie think we're looking through another universe, is replaced with the obvious fact that we're only looking at a manufactured story selling us an unconvincing lie. When done poorly, obviously. If in Dragon Ball Vegeta would go see the next big bad guy, and after the bad guy make his whole speech about how he's gonna destroy everyone and everything, Vegeta answer, sure you're strong, but can you beat Goku though? It might be really funny at first, but it would quickly make us see that Vegeta isn't a real person, but just a product, an empty hollow vessel that exists only to entertain us. Which he is, but it's still the opposite effect you want to create. Your character can make reference to the real world. He can make reference to other elements of his universe, but he never should say stuff he isn't supposed to know.
It's like in a cinematic universe, you want every story you make to connect even if it's in simple way. You do this in order to make a bigger story from that whole. That can continue for multiple movies, expanding character arcs to bigger proportion than possible in one movie. The same can be said for the world building that on paper should rival those of great work of fiction. In reality, yes, at first adding nod to other movies is a great way to do so. Making everything interconnected help the world building of that universe. It's like adding piece to a bigger puzzle. But when Marvel start adding pieces that when you think about it, doesn't work with what is already there. It does the opposite. It instead of making the world building more alive and connected in an interesting way, make the MCU feel less like a living, breathing universe than it did before those added parts.
Is it that big of a deal? No, it's not a deal breaker. The movie can still be enjoyable, and it's really easy to ignore. But when the MCU themselves doesn't take the MCU seriously, when the characters talk about those movies, like movies, it's hard to be completely invested.
How could I put it? Oh yeah, it's like no matter if you like those moments on their own, they are a disservice to the grander world building of the MCU. It's like each time the MCU breaks its lore to do a joke or moment, it doesn't really matter what you think of those moments individually, the fact remains that they break the MCU. So yeah, that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.
And don't forget to check out our other video on the channel. I'm sure there's stuff you're gonna like.
Thanks for watching.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew it all. Too many things going on, I can't keep track of them all. From people dropping